It is outrageous that a member of NATO tries to threaten, tries nearly to attack another member. And I'm so happy that these six good countries, also your country, are supporting us. But can I ask you a question? Where on earth is Mark Rutte? Mark Rutte is the General Secretary for NATO. And this is the toughest, deepest crisis NATO has ever had. And where is Mark Rutte? He should, of course, have acted now so this never happened.
So, as we were saying a little bit earlier on, European leaders, including Keir Starmer, have come down against any attempt on the part of America to take Greenland. That's after Donald Trump again expressed his desire for the US to have that Denmark-owned territory. In an interview with CNN's Jake Tapper, the US Homeland Security advisor Stephen Miller, who's also a deputy chief of staff at the White House, he seemed to add a bit to the tensions by claiming no one would come to the rescue if the US moved in.
Greenland has a population of 30,000 people, Jake. The real question is, by what right does Denmark assert control over Greenland? What is the basis of their territorial claim? What is their basis of having Greenland as a colony of Denmark? The United States is the power of NATO. For the United States to secure the Arctic region, to protect and defend NATO and NATO interests, obviously Greenland should be part of the United States. And so that's a conversation that we're going to have. There's no need to even think or talk about this in the context that you're asking of a military operation. Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland.
So that's the view of that influential advisor. Tom Hoyem, listening to that, is the former Danish minister for Greenland. Hello to you, Tom.
Hello.
Hi. I mean, what do you make of listening to Stephen Miller, the president's advisor there, and the president continually saying that he means to have Greenland?
Well, I have three comments. The first is that it is outrageous that a man in his position has so little knowledge about the history, about the legal situation. Greenland has been a part of Denmark for 300 years, and it has again and again been accepted also by the United States. But that's the one thing. The second is that it is so absurd that the United States and Mr. Trump, they want to have more military because the Arctic area is so high security risk. We do the same. The Greenlandic people, the Danes say, yes, we agree. And America wants to have minerals there. And we, Denmark and Greenland, we say, yes. We also want that there will be invested money in the minerals in Greenland. But now, seriously, today, you are sitting in United Kingdom, and Keir Starmer and representative for 6 different countries, they have said clearly they support Greenland and Denmark, the Kingdom of Denmark. And it is outrageous. It is not only a provocation. It is outrageous that a member of NATO tries to threaten, tries nearly to attack another member. And I'm so happy that these 6 good countries, also your country, are supporting us. But can I ask you a question? Where on earth is Mark Rutte? Mark Rutte is the General Secretary for NATO. And this is the toughest, deepest crisis NATO has ever had. And where is Mark Rutte? He should, of course, have acted now so this never happened. Anyway, Denmark and Greenland are closely together. Greenland and, of course, Denmark is not accepting at all any offer or threat from other countries, also not from the United States. But the absurd situation is that we agree what we should do. We have actually used the last years milliards of euro to have more military in the Arctic area, because the Arctic area is very, very important for the Arctic area, yes, but certainly also for London and for Berlin and for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to hear later on from a French senior politician who argued to me that the answer to the threat to take Greenland is for the European allies, NATO allies, to put more defence into Greenland itself and then answer the American claim that the region and Greenland needs more defence from potential aggression from...
Yes, but where is the General Secretary for NATO in this crisis?
Well, I suppose Mark Rutte, I mean, I hear your point. Mark Rutte, he's best known for getting on the right side and staying on the right side of Donald Trump. He says the things that Donald Trump wants to hear. What he may say, if he does say anything differently privately, I guess at this moment we can't know. Stephen Miller, though, he was right about one thing, Tom, wasn't he? Because he was right to say there's not going to be a fight, a conflict over Greenland.
Of course, we would also like to avoid that, but how do you discuss with a man who has so little knowledge that he, for instance, I just take one example. In 1916, that means in the First War, Wilson, the President of the United States, signed a document to Denmark that Greenland is and will forever be Danish. Why has this man not a knowledge about his own country's policy and what documents they have signed?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I hear again your point, but I merely put it to you that there will be no fight over Greenland. No one's going to be fighting American forces over Greenland. That idea is absurd.
Of course, but we are not talking only about that. I'm sure you know a word called precedence.
Yeah.
And what's going on here is that one ally is threatening, attacking another allies. And that's the reason that your country and other big countries in Europe have said this is not on. No. And that means you have a crisis, which is not about Greenland in the and the kind of Arctic exotic. It is in the middle of Europe that you have a crisis between members of NATO.
Indeed, and that is what's happening.
That is desperate.
Tom, it may be more realistic to imagine that President Trump might insist and carry on with his demand to own Greenland, and at some point start putting pressure on Denmark. We've seen the way that he uses trade tariffs to apply pressure on countries that he wants to push around. Now, if that were to be the way this thing develops, what would you expect? What could Denmark do? What would you expect Denmark's allies to do?
Well, we have already done. We have allied your country and the other countries. We have already been in contact with them, and they have today sent a common letter expressing that they are supporting Denmark and Greenland. Of course they are, because we have a world with some laws. Yeah. And precisely now, when we are speaking here in the Danish parliament, the highest gremium you have in the Danish parliament dealing with foreign policy, they are discussing this issue now. And of course we want that Greenland politicians, Danish politicians, are sitting around the table with Mr. Trump or his administration and discussing the facts, the substantial things here, because we are agreeing to these things. And it is no longer just rhetoric and insulting situation. He is, Mr. Trump and his administration, disturbing the whole of NATO. And that's the reason, I repeat, now the General Secretary of NATO must take the initiative, and he must make sure that we sit around a table and talk about substance and not about this kind of rhetoric and threats.
Yeah, and you hope for reason to prevail. Of course, it is perfectly open to America to seek to do deals to exploit mineral wealth in Greenland without taking Greenland. It is open to America to seek to build up NATO defences in Greenland without considering taking the place. But so far, the rhetoric, certainly in the Washington, has been pretty tough. It's been good to hear your thoughts, Tom Hoyem, former Danish Minister for Greenland.